Your hand is already halfway to the dog before your brain finishes the decision. You don't ask permission from yourself, you just reach. A stranger's golden retriever waddles past in the park, and your fingers fan out like you're greeting royalty, and somewhere in your chest, a small, warm, dumb feeling lights up before you've even made contact. Why? Why does a column of fur on legs short-circuit an entire grown adult? The honest answer is that you are being chemically rewarded for it. Within about 40 seconds of petting a friendly dog, your oxytocin levels rise measurably, and so do the dog's. You are both getting paid in the same currency. That's not a metaphor. That's a 2003 study by Odendahl and Meinches. Drawing blood before and after, watching the hormone of mother-infant bonding spike in two completely different species at the same time. Sit with that for a second, because it reframes the whole gesture. The same molecule that floods a new mother's body when she first holds her baby is the one your nervous system squeezes out when you scratch a Labrador behind the ear. Oxytocin isn't picky, it is the chemistry of we, and your brain is generous about who counts. Your heart rate drops, your cortisol drops, your blood pressure dips like someone gently lowered the volume on your day. Meanwhile, the dog's tail metronomes and its own stress hormones fall in parallel. You are co-regulating. Two mammals leaning into the same ancient circuit, having a tiny private summit on the sidewalk. Now here's where it gets stranger. That circuit was not built for dogs. It was built so mothers wouldn't abandon helpless infants, and so infants would scream until somebody picked them up. Touch is the original language of survival. Premature babies in skin-to-skin contact gain weight faster, breathe more steadily, and leave the hospital sooner. Adults touched on the arm by a waiter tip more generously. A 6-second hug measurably calms the cardiovascular system. Your skin is not just a wrapper, it is the largest sensory organ you own, threaded with specialized nerve fibers called C-tactile afferents that fire only in response to slow, gentle stroking contact at roughly the temperature of another body. Read that again. You have a dedicated nerve pathway whose entire job is to recognize being petted. And here is the part that hijacks the whole story. That pathway doesn't care whether the hand belongs to a person. So the dog walks by, and a neural system designed for your mother is firing because the fur is the right temperature and the stroke is the right speed. You are, in a very real sense, being mothered by a beagle. That should feel ridiculous, and it kind of is, but the deeper question is why this even works across species. Why does evolution let us be this easily fooled? The leading explanation has a name. It's called the cute response, and we owe its formal description to the Austrian ethologist Konrad Lorenz, working in the 1940s. Lorenz noticed that the features we melt for, oversized round head, big low-set eyes, small nose, soft rounded body, clumsy movements, appear across baby animals of dozens of species. He called the bundle Kindchen schema, the baby schema. The argument is brutal in its simplicity. Adults who were powerfully drawn to those features kept their own offspring alive. Adults who weren't, didn't. Over enough generations, what's left is a species. Us. Wired to lose its mind a little whenever something cute toddles into view. Brain imaging confirms it now. Show an adult a picture of an infant face, and the nucleus accumbens, the reward center, lights up within a seventh of a second. Faster than you can decide to look away. Faster than you can be cool about it. You see the problem. Evolution can't tell the difference between your baby and a corgi. It gets worse or better depending on how you feel about your free will. We have actively bred animals to exploit this. The domesticated dog's face, compared to its wolf ancestor, has gotten flatter, rounder, and more puppy-like. In 2019, anatomists Julian Kaminsky and Bridget Waller identified an entire facial muscle, the levator anguli oculi medialis, that dogs evolved and wolves essentially lack. It exists for one purpose. It lifts the inner eyebrow, producing that wide, sad, please don't leave me expression that has melted humanity for 30,000 years. Dogs evolved puppy dog eyes, literally, because humans kept choosing the ones who could make that face. We have been sculpting other animals into shapes our touch reward system cannot refuse. And cats. Cats ran their own con. Their meow, the specific frequency they use only with humans and almost never with each other, sits suspiciously close to the acoustic range of a human infant's cry. Researcher Karen McComb at Sussex showed in 2009 that domestic cats embed a high-pitched cry inside their solicitation purr, and humans rate it as more urgent, more in need of response. Two completely separate domestications. Same trick. Hijack the parenting circuit. When the same answer evolves twice, independently, you are looking at a real law of nature, not a coincidence. The pressure to be touched is that strong on both sides. Okay, but here is the objection that should be forming in your head right now. If this is all just hijacked baby wiring, why does it feel so good in the other direction too? Why do animals seek us out? Why does the cat shove its skull into your palm with the determined intensity of a tiny ram? Because they get the chemical payoff too. The same oxytocin study found the rise in the dogs. Subsequent work in cats, horses, even goats has found similar patterns. Touch between social mammals is mutual currency. You think you are giving the animal something. The animal is also collecting. Two creatures, neither one being charitable, both walking away calmer, and both faintly addicted to doing it again. This is the part of the story we don't usually tell out loud. The reason petting animals feels so good is partly that you are very, very lonely. And so are they. Industrialized humans live in the smallest social groups our species has ever tried. Our ancestors slept in a pile. Children were passed hand to hand through a village. Touch was constant, ambient, unremarkable. Now adults can go entire days, sometimes weeks, without being touched by another person at all. There is a clinical term for what that does to a nervous system: touch hunger or skin hunger, and the research on it is genuinely bleak. Elevated cortisol, poorer sleep, weakened immune response, higher rates of depression. We did not evolve to be this untouched, and into that vacuum walks the dog, the cat, the horse at the fence. They are, for many people, the only warm body that touches them with affection on any given day. The gesture isn't sentimental, it's medicinal. We are reaching for animals because our own species stopped reaching for us, and some quiet part of the brain refuses to accept the deal. It keeps sending the hand out anyway, looking for proof that you are still part of something alive. There is one last layer here, and it is the oldest one. Look up from the dog in the park and look back. About 30,000 years ago, somewhere in the cold of Pleistocene Eurasia, a wolf got close enough to a human campfire to be touched, and didn't run and wasn't killed. Then it happened again. Then enough times that two species began to braid their lives together. We don't know exactly when the first hand landed on the first soft skull and lingered. There is no fossil for that moment. But every dog alive today is the descendant of that contact. And so are you, in a way, because the humans who could form bonds outside their own species got an enormous survival advantage. Better hunting, better warning systems, warmer nights. Cats came later, drawn in by the rodents in our grain stores, and stayed because we kept reaching for them too. Every culture, on every continent, eventually did this. The pull is older than agriculture, older than writing, older than the cities we built to keep nature out and then immediately invited a small piece of it back in to sleep on the bed. So when your hand drifts toward the golden retriever in the park without your permission, you are not being weird. You are being 30,000 years old. You are doing the thing your ancestors did at the mouth of a cave with a wolf that had decided to stay. Your fingers know the gesture before your mind catches up because the gesture is older than your mind. The dog leans in because its ancestors learned to. The oxytocin rises in both of you because two species spent 300 centuries teaching each other that this was safe. You are not petting an animal. You are completing a circuit that the deep past left running, plugged in and humming, waiting for someone to touch the other end. And here's the quiet, beautiful part. You will probably do it again tomorrow. Some stranger's dog, some friend's cat, some horse over a fence on a road trip. You'll reach without thinking, and a little chemistry of belonging will fire off inside your chest, and you won't even register it as remarkable. But it is. Every single one of those small, unthinking moments is a tiny reenactment of the longest friendship our species has ever had with anything that isn't us. The fire is gone. The cave is gone. The wolf became a labradoodle in a sweater, but the hand still moves the same way it always did. Reach out. Something across the dark is still reaching back.